One shot. Let's begin. Lucifugus by Somato. Translated and uploaded by Ronnie Jars and Ron Topples. Alright, alright. Let's get to it, everybody. Let's just go for it. Nice. Good stuff. No children approached that gate. It was an unspoken rule. That girl never wondered what lay beyond it. Until that moment comes. Speaking of light, it was merely the faint glow of a candle. The village is shrouded by darkness. Time moves forward, yet slowly. Its people are different and emotionless, living in silence. This little girl likes reading a whole lot. The only library in the village, the books there, no, they're too shabby to be called books. There's no story or anything. It was more like a record of villagers from the past. Perhaps understanding the feelings of another person was somewhat entertaining for this girl. One day, a man she had never seen before appeared in front of her. Oh man, he's hurt. She looked back and saw some of the villagers. Seems like they were looking for something. One of the villagers approached her and asked, "Did you see a suspicious man?" The girl then quickly shook her head as if she didn't see anything. It seems some books in the library are missing. Someone stole it off the shelf, and the villagers are looking for that thief. These books containing information about the origins of the village and its inhabitants. Perhaps such things are the only matter that matters to them. Once the people had left, the girl slowly approached the man. He seemed puzzled at first. His breath was heavy, so heavy that he could barely utter a word. But then he said, "Do you know what it's like outside?" The girl stunned. She had never thought about what was outside the gate before. After saying that, he looked at the girl with a strange gaze. Then he turned his face and pressed his stomach even more with his hand. It seems this man is hurt, that girl thought. Once she took a closer look, she noticed that the clothes this man was wearing looked strange. She'd never seen anything like that before. His beautiful blue eyes from the eyes of the people here. The blood in his stomach is flowing more and more. But he tried to hide it from the girl. Then the man reached his hand inside his luggage, and he said, "You like books, don't you?" The girl didn't answer him, but then the man handed her a book. The little girl surprised. The book that man gave her was beautifully bound, unlike any she had ever seen before. For her, it seemed like the most precious thing of all. "Take good care of it, and hold it close to your heart." "Thank you." After saying that, the man stood up and parted with the little girl. That night, as the girl sleeping, she felt as if she heard an unusual commotion outside. She didn't tell anyone about this. Slowly she opened the first page of the book. It was a story, a heart-pounding adventure full of wonder. At first, she didn't understand it at all. She kept reading it. Then, she started over from the beginning, and little by little, she began to understand it. An expression she had never seen before. A world she had never seen before. Laugh was the word that caught the girl's attention. The expression of that man's face. The girl loved it so much. She wants to laugh like him too. She tried to do it, but how could he do it, she thought. She can't. There's another word that caught my attention too. Sun. The world of the story is illuminated by the sun in colors, many times brighter than candles, and it's overflowing with light. If there's a place in this village, I don't know it's this one. That man must have come through here, she thought. There is no surveillance. It's because No child was interested in what lies beyond the gate. If I enter, what will the adults say? They probably won't forgive me, will they? She's scared, but nevertheless, the desire to see the sun moved the girl. The footing wasn't as bad as I thought it would be, but I tripped and fell many times. I should have brought a lantern, but I didn't because I felt like someone might see me. Is there really such a thing as the sun? Those words kept echoing in her heart. The purpose of this adventure is to see the sun and laugh. I have practiced it many times. I mustn't fail at it. I wonder if I can laugh well. Is it over there? For some reason, my body is hesitant to move forward, but I must do it. I wanted to see it. I want to see and laugh. There's such a wonderful place. Shortly before the incident, the man's posthumous research book was published. The title was Lucifugus, the Tribe Forsaken by the Sun. That's beautiful. This is like I love this one shot, man. I'm hitting them out of the park. Well, I'm not hitting them out of the park. So Moto's hitting them out of the park. This was just a wonderful, wonderful one shot. Like, what I really, really like about this is that this feels like I'm reading a book or a short story, but it just has an accompanying comic with it here. You know? So, right here, like, all of this stuff feels like a narrator that you would read in a book. It's like, okay, I could read the short story. Without the pictures, all of this would still work, and I really, really love that. Even the way the dialogue is kind of situated, it's very much written like a novel here, right? Like, there's no separating text boxes. It's still within the purview of the narrator, right? Um... Oh, I love it. It's great. And so, yeah, this was unique, and I really felt comfortable with this. I really felt amazing with this here. And I also do like that the one dialogue box is of her just laughing. There's such a wonderful place. And I like the reveal at the end, which is a very realistic reveal about this here. Well, you know, of course she does die at the end because of like the sun killing her. But I like the title Lucifugus, the tribe forsaken by the sun. Right? Like, she dies, she disappears here, and it is tragic, right, to see this happen. And it's just really, really well written here. And I guess this is the one part where, like, if you didn't, you know, see this here, you would, you know, you wouldn't know that she died. You would really have to imply it from. Shortly before the incident, the man's posthumous research book was published. The title was Lucifugus, the Tribe Forsaken by the Sun. Right? Like, it's a really cool title, really cool thing. And if I just read this here, like, you know, you wouldn't quite know that she died necessarily. You might think, like, oh, they got trapped, they got cursed here, they were forsaken to the ground. But yeah, and there's also just something beautiful about this story here. Like, you go here, super dark story here, super everything. It's like boom, boom, boom. And then, you know, there's a little bit of light, and then there's the beauty of the story where, wow, they got exposed to adventure, they got exposed to everything. And she's like, wow, she can laugh, she could do this here, and it's a really cool story with a little bit of, like, this dystopia type view. It feels like something I would read, when I was younger or in middle school. It's like, wow, okay, now I get to practice my reading skills and be part of this adventure. In when I was younger, one of the books we had to read was called The Giver. It was a solid book. I don't remember much about it now, but it was a good time. Same thing with like Roll of Thunder, Hear My Cry. I think is what it was. Roll of Thunder. Again, another good book. I read House of the Scorpions as well, but those are all middle school books. But this does give me that type of vibe. You're like, okay, dystopian, kind of fun, young adult novel. I absolutely love it. And the art too. I like how soft it gets. Like right here. I wouldn't exactly call this harsh art here, as it does have a nice beauty to it as well, like this here. But I love how right here the art just gets so much softer, more vibrant here. It's beautiful. It's stunning. It's like, wow, I adore it here. And even as she's like dying and fading away, she's like, I could still see the beauty of it. And this is it's just wonderful. The art is good. The art is, it's nice. If I were to add like one minor thing that I would have done, and it's purely an artistic choice, purely an artistic choice. It has nothing to do with like the quality. I think this is a well written one shot. I would make the first couple of pages when they're in the dark. I would just make that black pages, like completely, right? So that way when you're in the dark here, you kind of see the simulation within the pages and the transitions. It's like, oh, okay. Well, now they're in the dark here, but then when they transition to like even stuff like this, okay, now it brightens here. Now you use white paper. Now you go further here, black paper, then a little bit of light here, and then boom, now you just use pure white paper, right? That's purely like a vanity choice that wouldn't add a lot for most people, not particularly, right? I don't think many people look that closely at the manga like me. But I think it would be a really cool artistic choice. Maybe too expensive, I don't know, but I think that'd be fun. Like this just seemed like a completely black paper with her, and I would love to see more of that. The paneling too is it's simplistic. I don't ever think it's bad to like have a simplistic, easy to follow story. So I do very much appreciate that. Adds to the ease of reading here, right? Even like this magnificent page spread here is still confined within this rectangle. This one goes a little bit over, sure, but for the most part, there's not much overlap here. The paneling is kind of simplistic, not in a bad sense, mind you. Here, like again, the story carries itself, the beauty carries itself, and maybe if you want to go super, like whatever, the only time she really breaks from the confines of these squares is when she's free. She sees the sun, and honestly, that's probably a better way to look at it too, because like you could see there's a lot more creativity. Like here, right? The paneling is just kind of simple, kind of normal. You're confined to these boxes here for the most part. Nobody's going beyond their station. It would be kind of cool if the guy went beyond it a little bit, but I don't think that's too big a thing here. This is really nice. Boom. And then all of a sudden, when she exits, she's no longer confined to these squares here. Boom. Right here, she's like free to go beyond these panels. If she pretty much touches every panel here, and even right here, going beyond it, she's disappeared. It's really, really well done, and I love this story. I absolutely love it. It's great. Sotomoto, really, really good stuff here. Let's see if they got more stuff here. Let me zoom in here. Somato Mayobashi. Okay, they got a few other things here. Well, if as long as they're okay for stream, we could go and like look at these ones here, because I mean this looks already scary. That looks scary, and I guess he kind of specializes in drawing these like gothic girls, right, or like old school gothic here. Like, it's really cool. But awesome, awesome. With all that being said, though, everybody, like, comment, subscribe, and thank you for being born, y'all. Peace out.